Go ahead.
Lori, can we have a roll call?
Dick Poofall,
Here.
Mike Berlin,
Here.
Clarence Campbell,
Here.
Bill Metzinger,
Here.
Martin Vitek,
Here. All present and accounted for. Need a motion to approve the agenda.
I move, Mike,
Who made the motion, Mike?
Mike,
Motion by Mike, who seconded it? In a fight over it? Seconded by Bill Metzinger. All in favor, say aye.
aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Public comment period. I don't see anybody rushing forward. Public comment period. Going once, twice. Oh, I almost got by without that. We have one for public comment. Mary Jo Gingras.
What they, I mean, not that you're gonna take it, but.
Whoever is,
I mean,
can
you have
everybody
better
please mute,
time.
we can hear you in the background.
Good morning, Mary Jo Gingras, Ashland County Land and Water Conservation Department. I'm speaking on behalf of agenda item number 6, employee handbook change for vacation. I would like to show support for the vacation policy to be revised to grant a week of vacation upon hire with Ashland County. Our current policy includes vacation time which is accrued during the first year and not to be used until after an employee's first anniversary. And in addition, I would like to see 2 weeks of vacation during the second year of employment. Right now, an employee does not have 2 weeks of vacation until after they have worked for 2 full years. So we have many retirements occurring in the county and many staff that are eligible for retirement. So having a policy that does not offer vacation during the first year makes it difficult for recruiting new and young staff. In addition, many other places of employment in Ashland or other counties, the hospital here, they offer vacation in the first year. Northland College even offers 4 weeks paid vacation upon an employee's first day of employment on the job. So 1 week of vacation during the first year and 2 weeks of vacation in the second year is more than reasonable. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mary Jo. Seeing there's no one else that's interested in,
I would like to make a public comment, please.
okay, go ahead.
Hi, Terry Barningham. I would mirror what Mary Jo said. We did have this as a topic at our Health and Human Services meeting in September with very good support for the changes. I would like to just reiterate what Mary Jo said. Our neighboring county, Bayfield County, provides 1 week paid vacation upon hire, 2 weeks following your 1-year anniversary. And just to mention, I have staff who, when they started many, many years ago, started with 3 weeks paid vacation. So we've gone backwards, in my opinion. And as far as recruitment and retention, I do believe it's very important to be competitive with private and public entities. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else online that wants to comment? Is there anyone else online that wants to comment? And we'll close the public comment period. In a motion to approve the Finance Economic Development and it's a joint executive meeting minutes from September 8th and September 22nd. Marty? Marty made the motion to approve. Do we have a second?
I can second, but I wasn't at the September 8th meeting, so I hesitate to second. because I don't, I wasn't there to know what happened.
Bill?
This is Bill Metzinger. I second it.
All right, seconded by Bill Metzinger. Any more comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Discussion and action, purchasing forest lands. Dan, I have nothing on it, so it's up to you.
Mr. Vitek?
We discussed this at the forestry meeting a number of times. And in talking to Chris Hoffman, he said that he would be interested in expanding the forest, particularly with the landlocked properties that are within the county forest. But he needed some guidance or some direction to do that. I understand that the state of Wisconsin has a number of parcels within our county forest that are not economical for them to maintain. It's just too not cost effective. And those probably could be purchased from the state. And I'm thinking that, well, I'd make a motion that we ask our administrator to ask the forest administrator to come up with a plan, a cost-effective plan to acquire those properties.
Thanks, Marty. You made it in form of a motion, right? We have a second. Second by Mike Berlin. All those in favor of exploring this possibility further?
Discussion? How many acres are we talking about? And how much per acre? Or is it, so much per acre for the whole works? But how many acres are we talking about?
Well, I know of at least three 40-acre parcels that are landlocked within the county forest. The price, I have no idea. That would be something, I guess, for the forestry department to kind of negotiate. But I do know that the state has a plan where that will finance, and Chris Hoffman certainly could explain this better than I. But that will finance the purchase and effectively write down the cost to about half of the agreed upon price. So, but again, that's up to Chris to explain, I guess.
I guess I'm in favor of it, but I'd like to know some of the details. But I can see that it being cost effective for the county too, because we don't have to survey around the state's parcels. And, so I think it's a good idea, but I think we need to have more information.
That's what it asked them to do, yeah.
Right. I guess I would have liked a little more information ahead of time.
We can't hear anyone.
To move forward with exploring the possibilities of land purchase. All those in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We'll go to number 6, employee handbook change, vacations.
Well, Mary Jo and Terry started this one for you and sort of gave you the whole argument ahead of time. So it does put us at a disadvantage for recruiting if employees have to wait an entire year before they get vacation. And the marketplace really is starting vacation right away. So we'd be looking to make that change, a change to either you get a week vacation right away, or at the very least, being able to accrue right away and use right away. So then there's also the other issue. There's a second issue with vacation, whereas it's not addressed in here how former employees who come back to the county, where they fall on the vacation scale. So we do have some employees who worked here, and I'm just going to say for 5 years and then went somewhere else, and then they're coming back here. So currently, do they start at year one again? But should they be get credit for previous years of service is the other question that's been coming up, and that's not addressed in the handbook. So I guess we're asking you to at least consider those two issues.
I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
If we're not gonna make them wait a year before they can use their first year's vacation, what is the time limit on it?
Well, they would have to
You're
use,
gonna get people, if you give it to them right away, they just might leave.
right. I know, and that's the danger that every employer faces if you give vacation right away. They come in, they work for a month, take a week's vacation, then quit. That is a danger. And it does happen out in the workforce, but most employers have decided it's still worth it, because when you hire somebody, you're not expecting them to leave, and the employee's not really expecting to leave either. I mean, the odds of that happening are slim, and it's just a cost of doing business.
So what's your answer? Looking for a time limit.
Well, you could say you can't take vacation for the first 3 months.
Pardon?
You could say you can't do it for the first take any vacation for the first 3 months.
3 months?
Yeah.
So what's the probationary period? Is there one?
It's up to each department head, but generally it's 3 months.
So then wouldn't it make sense or be obvious to, once you
That's your probationary.
probationary period, you can then, of course, use your leave?
Yeah, that would make sense too. Yeah.
So if we were to write that in this handbook,
Yep.
would that make it a little bit more clear?
I think so. I think that would help out department heads. If you can take vacation. So just so we're all clear, you'd be saying that you're eligible for a week's vacation at hire, but you cannot take it until you work 90 days.
I think that's reasonable.
Just want to make sure we're all on the same page.
Well, that clears that up. Thank you.
Richard.
Bill?
I guess I'm not in favor of that. I am in favor of giving them a week's vacation upon hiring. But if they leave before they put a year in, I think then they should have to prorate it back. So if they only work 6 months, they're entitled to 2.5 days. And if they've taken 5, that's fine, but they should pay 2.5 days back. Because I don't think it's fair to all the employees that worked here and did this and that and followed the rules, and all of a sudden you're jumping through hoops to give these people an advantage. I can see though, giving them a week's vacation right away. I can see that. But I just can't see them working several months or something and then leaving until they get their year in. And if they left during the year, then they should prorate it back.
Marty?
Well, would you apply that to every increment on that schedule? For example, when you get to 2 years, the 10 days, would that same idea apply?
No, because you've already earned it. You've already earned it. You already got your time in, so you're entitled to that. You don't have to, as far as I know, you don't have to work the whole year. You're entitled to it because you've already earned it.
Well, I think that's an incentive for people to come here. If people are able to take their vacation after, say, an example, 6 months, I don't think that's why they came here, to get a 3 weeks vacation. I think they want the job. So I agree with Dan on this. They should be able to use it after a reasonable period of time. I agree with you too, Mike, about probationary period. How long is that?
Generally, it's 90 days.
90 days?
Yeah, personally, myself, I think that's kind of nitpicking. They're trying to, pay back in case they should quit or move on or something like that, but they're part of the team effort. Everyone that works for the county is a team member, whether it be in ag or whether it be in forestry, whether it be in health and human services or the cop shop or whatever. Well, we're a team to do a job for the county best we can. But
Nice. You done?
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. We're gonna get, if we start doing that, what you suggest, Bill, it's gonna get real nitpicky, okay, so somebody leaves after 7.5 months. So how do you figure out how many days they owe? And you're getting down to the nitpicky little details, and I don't think it's gonna be a problem, to be honest with you. And as Terry Barningham said, Health and Human Services Board supports this vacation policy, so I'm in favor of same thing, waiting till they at least have the 90 days probationary period in, and then they can take their vacation.
Anyone else?
are we prepared to make a motion on this today, or do we want to bring this back, or, after a rewrite, or what's your thought?
You can do it either way. I mean, it still has to go to the county board, so you'd see it there.
Oh, they got to pass it too?
Yeah.
Let's move it on, make that motion. How do we read that motion that they get their week's pay as soon as they're hired? However, they cannot begin to use it until they accomplish their probationary period. So that means 3 months and 1 day they can use it, but in the first 3 months they cannot. Of course, when we rewrite this verbiage for the county board, that will be in the new policy.
All right, we have a motion on the table by Mike Berlin to move this forward to be able to take a vacation after probationary period is in. Clarence,
I'll second.
seconded by Clarence Campbell. Any more discussion? You ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Okay, now there's also the other issue in vacation of people who used to work for the county and then came back to the county, resigned and then came back to the county. Where do they fall on the scale? Do they get credit for their previous service, or do they just start over again?
Yes, they get credit. They should. I know when you're working for the government, like say, for instance, just recently, one of my coworkers that worked with me over here at the Bureau of Indian Affairs, she left. Now she's working with HUD, and HUD had given her all the time carried forward. So in the government, what do you call eyes, it's time served. That would be my opinion.
Bill,
I guess I'm in disagreement again. I think they should start over. You could have somebody that was here for 20-some years and start automatically get 27, 28 days right away, and they left. I think they should be made to start over. That's my opinion. And I will not support that. I will not support that in the handbook.
any more discussion?
Well, let me just throw this out, that this will come to the county board as well.
Correct.
And as a subcommittee, I believe it's our duty and responsibility to discuss it and bring it to the board. Because they're ultimately gonna make the decision. So.
So that there's not a specific item on here.
It's the vacation.
So do we vote on this also?
Yes, you can vote on this or not vote on this.
Just to forward it?
It's up to you. I mean, you can do whatever you want. You can make a motion and vote, or you can decline to make a motion and move to the next agenda item.
Do we have a motion?
Mike will make that motion to move it on to the county board.
Motion made by Mike Berlin to move this to the full county board. Seconded by Marty. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Bill, you look so disgruntled. You're pouting.
May I
Motion
ask a
carries,
question
thank you.
regarding that motion? Is that motion, Mike, to give them credit, or is it just to forward the decision onto the full board?
The motion was to give them credit and move it to the board for final decision.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move. Any more discussion? You're done discussing. We'll move to number 7, approve health insurance for 2023.
Okay. So our health insurance plan is still losing money. It's down about $400,000 this year, which is money that we had to borrow from the general fund. So our renewal rates came back initially at a 15.3% increase. We're now looking at closer to 11. But when you include increased dental costs, we're still back at 15.3% overall. So that's what we have in the budget. The increase will enable the plan to stay solvent. For a family, for how it affects employees, for a family plan, it would go up $35 a month. So it's not really an outrageous amount.
35?
Yeah, $35 a month is how it would affect employees
Okay.
on the family plan. The single plan, be even less, be like 10, $15.
And how much does across the board 3% increase in wages?
Well, everybody, that's different. The wage increase is different for everybody, obviously.
No, but is the wage increase going to cover the?
Yes, the wage increase will cover the health insurance.
Oh, no. We can't have them going backwards.
Well, I agree. Bill,
Okay, do we have a motion?
Bill,
Oh, Bill.
I didn't want to interrupt your train of thought. What percent of the insurance does the employee pay and how much does the employee pay?
the employer, us, the county pay 90%, and the employee pays 10%.
So what are those numbers for next year then? The 90% and the 10%?
It's gonna go from, I know the family plan offhand, it's gonna go from $235 a month approximately to $270.
Is that for family plan?
That's for the family plan.
I don't think that's all that bad. I'm paying more than that for a supplement.
And those dollar amounts are in the budget that the finance committee passed last week. So,
All right, do we have a motion? Your turn on the barrel, Mike.
Let's make that motion. Get it to the county board so they can do it.
Could
To
you,
approve the health insurance for
Yes.
2023. Do we have a second? Bill,
I will second that motion.
and seconded by Bill Metzinger. All those in favor say aye.
I,
One opposed, motion carries. Thank you. We go to number 8. 2023 wages.
So again, this was approved by Finance Committee last week in the budget. The budget has a 3% across the board wage, except for those employees that are contracted. And then wage study, then we saved enough money in contingency to implement the wage study in July 1st. So we'd like your blessing to move forward with that plan.
Question about the wage study.
Yeah.
Isn't that so expensive that we could almost give the employees a bigger raise? We didn't do the wage study?
We could give them yeah, we could. But I guess the whole point of the wage study was to get people closer to where they're supposed to be making instead of continuously staying below
Yeah.
everybody else. But, revisions are going to come back and then we're going to go, each department's going to go over them. And we may have to argue with each other about some going up, some going down. But in the end, we'll get to a point where everybody agrees these numbers are correct and it'll come back to this committee in the end for final approval.
I don't understand the reason why we didn't go to the 6% is because when the wage studies are, some of the employees are going to be above the wage study, and of course, the whole point of the wage study is to put everybody on an equal table.
Right. So there were some people who were scheduled to make a 0% increase with the wage. Some were scheduled to make $800. Some were scheduled to get $20,000. So with the 3% raise, at least everybody gets something. And with the money we're saving by not doing the full 8.6 that we budgeted on, we have enough money to implement the wage study later. So it really comes down to a matter of cash. Either we implement the wage study or we implement a 6% raise or a 3% raise, but we can't do more. We can't do all of them at once. There's just not enough money there. So the number 3% came up, so there would be money available later to implement the wage study. That's the number we needed.
Well, let me just say this, that with this wage study, these people are going to have to coordinate and collaborate more closely with the managers.
Yep.
So that when it comes to the board and for decision, we can't have the managers do what they did this year. Oh, well, they met with us, but they didn't come back with the final decision. And of course, all of a sudden it was, we over in roads did, or Matt wanted to do this because some of his employees are already up at that level. And of course, next thing you know, you got Health and Human Services or whoever, oh, hold it, that can't work.
Mhm.
And I've asked that question repeatedly. Can we initiate this
Yes.
fiscal 23? And I repeatedly was told, yes, we can.
Mhm.
And obviously we can't, and we didn't.
No.
And right now we're looking at only a 3%.
Right.
We're
And
gonna bring these guys back in July to do over.
yep. And this committee will get to decide again whether or not they even want to implement.
Oh, joy. So it's kind of like you're saying over there, it's passing the buck out there.
Right.
We gotta, we need to, well, I ain't gonna get vulgar, but we need to make decisions.
Yep.
Or, if we don't make decisions, we gotta push it to the county board where they will make the decision.
Yep.
So give it to the whole board so it's done.
Yep.
Bill,
Thank you.
How much did we pay out for the wage study this year? And how much are we going to be paying out next year for the wage study?
We're not paying out. We paid 40,000 this year, and we're not paying out next year.
Not paying anything?
No.
I guess, to me, is the plan, if we give a 3% sometime during 2023, are we going to adjust the salaries if the county board approves adjusting the salaries then? Because what was the sense of doing the wage study if you're
Yeah.
not going to do anything?
Yeah, we're gonna do it. We are gonna do it in 23. There's enough money in the budget saved in contingency to do it in 23.
Well, will it be retroactive till January 1st?
Probably not. There's not enough money for that. Sorry, we just don't have the cash to do that.
Do we have enough cash to give an 8.6% raise?
We
If
do.
across the board now? Is
Yes.
there enough cash there?
Yeah.
But we can't give 8.6% to just everybody.
We can, but then that's it. We're done. There's no more cash. We can't implement the wage study then.
If we're to do that, Bill, the 8.6%.
worse.
It's gonna.
It's good, yeah.
I agree, but I'm just saying, I just wanted to know how much money we did have, if that was enough to implement. Now, the highway department talked about it. We had it at a committee meeting. And the highway commissioner looked at the salaries and we kind of went over with experience and stuff. And it came out to an increase of 8.4%.
Matt said, Matt is throwing numbers at you that are higher than Price County and higher than Bayfield County. You can go look in the newspaper. Price County's hiring at less than what we're paying. So the highway guys are already at the level what they're supposed to be. That's the reality.
So if we give the highway guys another 8.6%.
We're hired.
That'd be so far ahead of the pay of the wage study that, well, once a wage study is passed by the board, you can't go backwards.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
On the wage study, nobody was getting a decrease in salary.
Nobody was getting a decrease in salary. Some people were getting 0% increase. And a lot of people were getting like $800 increases.
But this way, everyone's getting 3%. So everyone's getting something. And once again, this is one of those items I would like to take in. I don't want to make that decision by myself or by ourselves or by the finance committee. That's ultimately got to be a county board decision, you know, and that's got to be a poll vote, no doubt in my mind.
Yeah,
This-
and
this
it
is
will
the
be.
topic.
It will be because it's part of the budget.
Yeah,
So-
this is a, yeah.
My whole question is, when is this going to be done and how is it going to be done? We had the wage study. It's been we've had it for 6 months. We've rolled around and we haven't made any decisions. And now when it comes to January 1st, you're going to take it to the full board or whatever, the 3%, but you never really accomplished anything because we did this wage study and you just ignored it. You know, you never made any decisions whatsoever. Well, let's pass it to the full county board. Well, the full county board isn't going to know anymore. You know, I look at it and say, well, why did we do this wage study for $40,000? Wouldn't it have been better to give them $40,000? And now it's a whole year later. And yes, they did their work, but we're not even taking their recommendations. We're just ignoring them, whether they're right or wrong.
Clarence.
As I understand it, when these recommendations on what level the various employees were at came out, some of the managers questioned where some people were placed, and that's why we couldn't implement the wage study. So now they're going to go back and rank these positions, as I understand it.
Right.
So that's why we can't approve the wage study, because some of the managers objected to some of the placements on that scale.
Well, this is what I'm saying is that when they said we can implement that for 2023, they did not go back to the managers after they did all their ranking and stuff like that. And this,
Right.
it's imperative that they need to have the managers on board.
Right,
on
right.
The placement and all the tiers.
Yeah,
and
so
stuff
that's
like
why we
that.
can't implement the wage
Right.
study now. So I agree. I'll make a motion that we approve a 3% across the board wage increase pending the wage study coming back again with the proper rankings.
All right. We have a motion on the table by Clarence Campbell to approve the 3% wage increase. Do we have a second? Marty? Seconded by Marty Vitek. Any more discussion? Bill?
Has the finance committee looked at this 3% thing
Last week,
and were they in favor of it?
yes.
Any more discussion? All those in favor of the motion? say
Aye.
Opposed? You didn't have your happy meal this morning, did you? Motion carries. Thank you. Go to number 9, new position request at Health and Human Services.
Terry?
Hi, so Health and Human Services is requesting this extra position. It is fully funded by the Northern Income Maintenance Consortium. There will be no county dollars. It's fully funded. In the event there is ever an unemployment claim, that gets funded by the Income Maintenance Consortium. What I really recommend is allowing us to hire the position. We already have 2 people who are starting in county funded positions, so adding a 3rd one will be adding a little more work to the supervisor's plate, but overall it allows us to allocate a lot of our overhead to this fully funded position and saves us money, hard dollar savings in the long run. So that would be my recommendation, and I hope you approve it, and I can answer any questions you may have.
Clarence.
I'll make a motion, we approve.
All right, we have a motion by Clarence Campbell to approve. Bill?
I'll second that motion.
And that motion is seconded by Bill Metzinger.
Discussion, please.
Discussion.
On this, Terry, it says last review of the job description was November 2012. Is that the same job description, or has this job description been updated?
It's the same job description. It's a call center position. When we joined with the consortium, we had to redo, because prior to 2012, each county ran their own economic support. We had our own individual cases per county, and now we all cover all 12 counties as a call center. So it hasn't changed substantially since 2012.
All right, thank you.
Any more discussion? We have a motion and a second on the table to approve the new position request. All those in favor say aye.
All right,
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We'll go to number 10. New positions request for a Spark program.
Terry, you want to handle this one too?
Sorry about that. I was actually hoping Scott would be on. And if he's not, I will
I
try to
don't see
wait.
him.
Okay. So Scott, you're all familiar with the Spark program. It's an after-school substance abuse prevention program. There's a few changes that Scott wanted to see. One is implementing a full FTE position for his program, and that position would be responsible for a lot of some of the administration and planning programs. And some of the other positions are just to increase the amount of support that we have for the program. In addition to Spark, Scott has gotten what's called a Youth Justice Innovations Grant, and really allows us to focus on youth who are involved with the criminal justice system and reinforcing the pro-social skills that kids who tend to get in trouble may not have a whole wealth of. It should reduce recidivism. It should really be a great model for our youth, and hopefully we will see results down the line, as it is not a prevention, but a intervention for our youth justice involved youth. And I should add, again, it's fully funded by either the Brighter Futures Initiative or the Youth Justice Grant.
Any questions? Bill?
Is this like a 1-year grant? Or is,
It's a 3-year grant for Spark. We will be entering into year 2 in January. And initially, it was supposed to be only a 3-year grant, and we received full funding for the second round of the grant. So we've been very fortunate in that aspect. So we have at least 2 more years, hopefully more.
And Bill?
I'll make a motion for adoption.
I have a motion to adopt the Spark Programs employee. All those in favor, sir, we have a second?
I'll second.
Curtis Campbell, seconded. We have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Approve a new contract for zoning agent.
So as many of you know, Bruce Blakeman has been working as our zoning agent. He is a contractor, a 1099 contractor. So he doesn't get healthcare, retirement, any of that stuff. And we agreed to do a year-to-year contract. Obviously that year ends at the end of this year. Bruce is doing a great job. We'd love to keep him around. All the contractors in the region seem to like him too. He researches everything. He really knows what he's doing. He's been a great addition. And so we're looking for approval to approve his contract for next year.
Bill?
What was his salary last year and what is his new salary going to be?
It was 75,000 last year, and it's going to be the same this year.
75?
Yep. That includes all of his expenses though, too. So we're not paying for the health insurance either. So our previous zoning administrator was actually making slightly more once you count all the benefits in.
Marty?
Regarding miscellaneous provisions on.
Use your microphone, please.
Okay, regarding the miscellaneous provisions, it says zoning agent shall not perform any work related to the contracted position in Ashland County. That's a little confusing. I don't know what that means.
Oh, it means that he can't do any plumbing work in Ashland County, basically. It's to avoid any conflicts of interest.
Okay.
Did you want? Clarence?
You say that he pays all his expenses, so if he has to go over to the island or something like that, he would pay his expenses?
Actually, normally when it goes over the island, say to do a sanitary permit, he'll actually put it on the account of the plumber who's doing
Oh,
it.
okay,
So the customer ends up paying.
okay.
Any more discussion?
I'll make that motion.
You have a motion?
Yeah.
Motion by Mike Berlin to approve the new contract for the zoning agent at the same wage?
Yep.
A second, Marty? Seconded by Marty Vitek. Any more discussion? Bill?
From what I've heard in dealing with Bruce, he's doing an excellent job. So, I'm in favor of retaining him.
Any more discussion? Ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, number 12, resolution of support for continuing joint dispatch feasibility study.
So we are in the midst of a feasibility study to merge joint dispatch services with Bayfield County. They just came back with the first recommendations for us so we can apply for the PSAP grant. This goes along with this. We're going to get results at the end of the year by December 31st. This resolution we're passing is one, to show support for the feasibility study, but also so it's something we can show the state of Wisconsin for the grant progress process. Bayfield County has already passed their resolution.
I know there's going to be a lot of questions. Clarence, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I'll make a motion to approve this. As long as we've gone this far, we might as well keep going and not stop now.
Marty, motion made by Clarence Campbell to continue this venture, seconded by Marty Vitek. Any more questions? Discussion, Bill?
This has to be passed by the full county board.
Yes.
Okay.
And I just want to point out too, that because I know there's gonna be questions, and if the study comes back saying we should merge, that whole process is going to take 2 years to do so. So the county board will have to be involved in this whole process for a long time. It's not going to happen overnight. And, you know, both counties are going to have to agree to all the governance structure, the staffing, everything. So
I would imagine then if we pass this resolution to continue down this path, most of the questions will be answered on how that's going to work, because I'm puzzled about that. I don't know if you call the sheriff's department here, if it could be for county or.
yeah. Yeah, and all those questions, I mean, right now we're looking at the feasibility is, you know, first of all, can we do it technologically? You know, is there enough radio towers out there? You know, do we have enough staff? You know, one of the driving forces of this is to provide emergency medical dispatch. So there's always at least 2 dispatchers online working. So if somebody's having, like, say, a heart attack, somebody can give instructions for CPR and stay on the phone with them, while the other dispatcher can take care of other emergencies. So and that's going to end up being a mandated service down the road very soon, which is going to force us our hand anyhow. So, you know, this is just something we're looking at. We're hoping at greater efficiencies, better service for the people. But yeah, there's still a lot of questions to be answered. That's why I said it's going to take years before a merger actually happens. And there's 1,000,001 things that could stop it between now and then.
I got a question for you. Is there a grant that's paying for this study?
This feasibility study, the county is paying 25,000 and Bayfield's paying 25,000. There is talk, the county's association is talking to the governor's office about them releasing some of the state ARPA money to cover the cost of this. I haven't heard from that yet, but they are going to be trying to do that.
So if that happens, will we be getting some of that money back, or is it going to cost that much more?
If the governor gives us the $25,000 to cover the funding, then we get that. And so this study cost us nothing.
So
then.
that will cover
Yeah.
a portion of it.
Yeah.
I have a question. On this feasibility study, this is gonna be independent of Ashland or Bayfield County. So they're gonna have outside resource come in and do
Yep.
the study.
Yeah, we do. We have an outside resource. There's a company in Pennsylvania that's doing it.
Pennsylvania?
Yep.
Okay,
They're the ones, we had about 5 or 6 bidders for the RFP, and the one from Pennsylvania was the best one. They came out here a week after they won the bid and spent a lot of time in both dispatches. So
Do we have a motion to continue the feasibility study? You already have one? And who seconded it? Fess up, Marty, did you?
Marty Vitek did.
All right, we have a motion on a second to continue the feasibility study of the joint dispatch. All those in favor say aye.
all right.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Number 13, a resolution requesting the state of Wisconsin review and revise the entry-level compensation rate for assistant district attorneys.
ADAs are completely funded by the state. They're state employees. However, most counties are having problems with getting ADAs because they're just underpaid. So that creates problems in our court system. And so this is a request that the state pay them more.
Marty?
The state pays the bill on this.
Yes, yes, they're state employees. So the
Okay.
state pays the bill.
I'll make a motion, we approve the resolution.
Just spending the state's money just like that. Bill?
I will second it.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the compensation rate resolution. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
All right,
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you. Number 14, discussion on the body worn cameras in the grant program.
Okay, this is a grant that literally just came out last week and it's due this week. There's a 50% match on this, but it would, the sheriff's department is requesting that we do this and have the deputies have body cameras. He talked to the Chief Hegstrom, and it would end up cost us, the whole thing would end up costing about $55,000, which is the cost of the cameras and the data storage. And the data storage being by far the most expensive portion because we have to keep that data for years. So this would be an unbudgeted expense of about $22,000 to $25,000. So
And how many cameras does that involve?
that's one for each deputy.
I don't know, how many is that?
13, I believe.
16, okay.
Yeah.
And the cost is what?
About 22 to 25,000.
How much?
22 to
Oh,
25,000.
okay, that's not bad.
And there's unspent money sitting in the sheriff's department's budget just from staff turnover.
so we don't have time to take this to the county board for their.
No, we don't.
No,
No,
we don't need to.
no, we don't.
Uh,
No, it's under the amount the county board needs to
And-
approve.
Do we have this application ready to go?
Yeah, Brian will have it out, ready to go. He's waiting for your approval.
I make that motion.
Okay, we have a motion by Mike Berlin to approve the body worn cameras grant program for 2023. Have a second? Seconded by Marty Vitek. Any more discussion? Bill?
Has the finance committee looked at this at all?
Nope, the grant application came out after, too late for the finance committee.
Okay.
Are we ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
I,
Anyone opposed? Say no. Motion carries. Thank you. Administrator updates.
Okay, so, I know finance committee already knows this. I had mentioned a while ago, I think at the county board meeting, that we were eligible for a new federal program, local assistance. And I know forget what the name is. Anyhow, it's an offshoot of the ARPA program that Congress appropriated separately. What they're essentially doing is they take a county's income level for the poverty rate for the last 20 years and how much federal land they have and how much what their estimated income is, and all these numbers they crunch together. Anyhow, for the long and short of it, Ashland County was allocated $577,000 for this year and another one for next year. Most counties in the state only got 50,000. But because we have so much land with the Chequamegon Forest, we got 577, Bayfield got 500. I think Forest County got the most, close to $1 million each year. anyhow, so as soon as that news came out, I had Sue go in and apply for it, and we received that cash. So now we have this $577,000 sitting in a separate account. It's unrestricted. So the only thing we can't do with it is use it to lobby the state or the federal government. And we can spend it where there's no time limits or anything. So this is my cash that we're just gonna have sitting in the bank for whatever the county board decides it wants to spend it on or not spend it on.
Question,
Mike,
when we're talking this federal lands, okay,
Yes,
and you're talking Sean McGinn, Nicolay National Forest,
that's
is the Bedford Reservation including that?
the Bad River already got their allocation a while ago.
Oh,
They got one back in the spring.
so then we don't get credit for that.
No, yeah, all tribes in the state country got theirs earlier in the beginning of summer. Counties are now getting theirs.
Okay.
So
Bill,
Did I hear you correctly say that we don't have to spend it right away?
nope, we don't have to spend it right away. We can hold on to it for 2 decades if you want.
Okay.
Yeah, but it is in an interest-bearing account, which these days is actually a little bit of money. And then it will automatically get the second $577,000 payment next year. And again, this money is not included in the budget. So it's extra money just sitting there. The same thing, we didn't include the carbon credit money in the budget because we don't know if we're getting it next year, and it's kind of one-time money anyhow. So that'll be money for the county board to decide what to use, when to use it, how to use it.
everybody else is getting a raise. How about us?
Well, you guys are not legally allowed to get raises until after the next election.
That was a joke. A really bad one. Any more discussion? We don't have discussion. It's the administrator update.
We're done.
Have anything else?
No, we're done.
You're good?
I think so. I thought everybody would like to hear about the $500,000.
Any more questions for Dan? Anybody? What? Yeah, we're zeroing in on it right now.
I can go bust your bubble.
Sorry. Next one is November 15th, County Board. Not that I know of yet.
Bill,
Are you going to mention the state of Wisconsin and the Native American issue?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I thought everybody heard about that one already, but sorry, it's been, so, everybody knows about the Seventh Circuit Court decision. How it went, which way it went. The state of Wisconsin has decided that you're not going to appeal. So, any of the other named parties in the suit can appeal. Of course, we're not going to want to do that because that continues the bleeding for us. So, what the state has said is that they don't believe they can win the appeal, and that starting in 2023, there will be no more settlements to municipalities. So basically, and the reason is there's no more settlements is because there's no tax to pay. So I don't know how that's going to affect some of our towns. The town of Sanborn is losing 85% of its taxable value. Town of Jingles, I believe, is 20%. Town of Ashland is close at like 10%. So we don't know how that's going to play out next year. We do know that we're not paying them. I have talked to the school superintendent and a couple of the town chairs. We are looking at we're using all of our lobbying organizations, the Towns Association, the Counties Association, the school board, to get the state legislature to try to fix the money problem. They're the ones that violated the treaty. They're the ones that should fix it. And now with the $5 billion surplus they have, I mean, they have the money to fix it. You know, as far as back taxes go, I don't know anything about that. You know, pre-2016. I imagine there will be a lawsuit filed seeking those. But at this point, there is nothing to pay because there's no instructions. The DOR and the assessors are going to have to remove all those properties from the assessment roll. If that's not done by the time we send out tax bills, all those tax bills are still going to go out because we don't have a choice in that. Now, I did talk to Philomena and Chair Wiggins, and I let them know that, you know, we're going to have to send them out. But we know full well they're not being paid. It's just just because of how the system works, we have to do that. So, but yeah, they do know that we're not good. We don't expect them to be paid, and it's just we have to do it this way.
Bill, you have a question?
Yes, during 2023, our equalized value is going to go down considerable because all that property is removed from the roll.
Well, not really, because our equalized value went up dramatically, and that's not enough property to really lower our equalized value.
Yeah, but you don't know what's happening in 2023 yet.
Well, I know the approximate dollar amounts from the DOR, and it's about $100 million, and our equalized value went up $400 or $500 million. So it's, you know, it's going to hit, but it's not going to be. It's the equalized value is still going to be up afterwards.
I got a question. With the Wisconsin, with their surplus of upwards of $5 billion, I can only assume, I'm going to ask the question, you are going to keep a monitor on that so that if anything becomes available for the counties that
Yep.
we're going to be on that.
Yes, we're going to try to get every dollar we can.
Well, I'm thinking that some of the programs that we operate and stuff like that, like the tax levy and stuff like that, we can charge back our insurance and various different things to the tax levy. But we have other expenses as well.
Yep.
And if there's something out there, I certainly like to be kind of like this, what do you call it? Body cams. You know, it becomes available or it becomes, what do you call it? Visible last week, and you got to have your application this week. Boy, that's a short turnaround.
It is.
If you're not watching
I know.
you're not watching the pitch, you're going to miss.
Right.
You're gonna lose.
And yeah, we are looking for all that stuff. I mean, it's some of the highway stuff too. And it comes out, and a week or two later, you have to have your
Mhm.
application in. And so,
Well, with that being said, and that's what we over at Roads did, we have some roads on reserve, on the shelf, so to speak, so that when this comes out, we got projects ready to go,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Right.
yeah, you're right. We should have some projects engineers ready to go. I think what Matt would say, and I don't want to speak for him. He might be actually on the phone here. And if he is, we can let him talk. Here. Hey, Matt Erickson, can you come on? Okay, well, I think one of the problems, and if Matt's around, he can explain it better, is that not all of our roads are eligible for grants. Specific, I mean, we may have a road that needs to be repaired, but it's not grant eligible because of the restrictions of the grant. So he's looking at every road and every grant, and if he can match them up, then yeah, that's great, but sometimes they just don't match up.
You know, we've got a situation like over at Madeline Island. You know, we've been pumping money in over there, and boy, it just I find it hard to believe only because I've worked in roads with the BI for 28 years, and there's money out there for almost every little parameter
Yeah.
when it comes to roads. You got although our bridges are in decent shape, and stuff like that, and the bridge that we had going over Mellon is pushed back for a couple of years. But other than that, Matt's got us on a schedule. They said things are progressing along and stuff like that. And I believe I did make the motion back at a time to, do some preliminary work, engineering work, so we could have those plans on the shelf so that when the time comes, we're ready.
Ready to go. Yeah.
And I think we can have some foresight with some of our other programs here too. Health and Human Services, probably forestry, almost everybody. I don't want to get into micromanaging their programs because they know what they do. And of
Yeah,
course,
they
that's
should
why you
look for
have
more
the
grants.
subcommittees that like us to kind of, bring it to the board for final approval and stuff like that. But administratively, like yourself here, you're watching this, you're watching the pitch all the time.
Right.
Of course, Mary Jo's.
Mary Jo, I was gonna say, is one that is, as far as department heads go, she's probably the best at finding grants. She does a great job. I mean, she more than pays for her department. And so, Mary Jo will be getting grant help, so a staff person to help her with grants now that the construction season slowed down. And hopefully that will enable her to get even more of them, because she has help.
As far as sheriff's department's town of La Pointe thing, that's going to be in the budget. What is the final thing in the budget? Is it going to be for the sheriff's department?
Finance committee voted to put $0 into the budget,
Zero?
Yeah.
And last year was,
135.
yeah, but in the budget, it's going to be zero.
Yeah, that's what finance committee voted last week.
What? They'll have to discuss that. But what do the other executive committee members think of slashing that?
Bill, it's not on the agenda. But
I got an unrelated question.
sure.
Have you got any kickback at all from the island on the fact that their proposal was turned down flat?
I have not heard anything.
Haven't heard anything.
I know Supervisor Stark's calling everybody. So I would expect a phone call. Yeah. Yeah, I know he already, I know he already called Supervisor Ellison. So I'd expect you guys will get one too.
Well, I don't know how you guys feel about it, but when we rejected their first offer,
It's not on, this is not on the agenda.
We can't talk about,
It's not on the
it's not
agenda.
on the agenda, so we can't talk about it.
Yeah.
well, if I want. Okay, I give up.
Use your microphones, please.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, to be determined. It'll be after Thanksgiving, put it that way.
Did you make a motion to adjourn? Did you have your microphone on? You're getting scolded.
I'm sorry, just a mic. I moved to adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Motion by Mike, seconded by Clarence to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
I
Opposed, motion carries. We're
Thank you.